High school can be hard, particularly for kids who get continuously bullied. A teenage girl was tormented daily by a group of girls to become isolated and terrified. The approach of senior prom and the thoughts of having to see peers in such a social setting became unbearable for her. She believed she had no other choice but to stay at home and avoid it completely. But just as she was getting ready to give up on the special night, there came a twist in her life. To her surprise, none other than NBA superstar Steph Curry showed up at her doorstep. And what happened next changed everything. Join us in this video to find out all about it. Emily's New Beginnings. Emily Cage, a 17-year-old proclaimed nerd, had just moved to Chicago with her parents, Louis Cage and Hannah Cage, due to her father's work transfer. Louis was a microbiologist and Hannah was a botanist. Emily didn't want to leave the life she had in Nashville. She was doing well in school, her childhood best friend Ella, and the memories she shared there. When her dad broke the news to her that they were relocating, Emily couldn't help it. "Dad," she said as tears rushed down her cheeks, "what about our life here? What about my friends in school and Ella?" "Emily, dear," her dad said, "you can always make new friends. We'll enroll you in a good and better school, and Ella can always come to visit." Emily retreated into her room with tears, packed her bags because they were set to leave the next day. "Chicago is a bright and windy city, Emily," her mom said to her as they were conveyed from the airport to their new home. "I miss home," Emily replies. "This is home now, my dear Hannah," Emily's mom replied. Later that week, Emily was enrolled at Chicago High School. One morning before Emily left for school, she was really nervous because it was her first time at a new school. Her best friend wasn't there or anyone she knew. Emily dressed in a blue knitted gown, her nerdy glasses on, and her black shiny hair tied up. The chills of loneliness ran down her spine as she set off for school. "Have a nice day at school, Emily," her parents said as they waved her goodbye. On getting to Chicago High, Emily nervously walked through the walkways to get to the main building, her eyes lurking around. It was her senior year at Chicago High. As she walked through the hallway, she noticed some poking eyes staring at her, whispers going on around as the students fetched their books from their lockers. "She's new," a person randomly said. Emily finally found her classroom. "This seat is already taken. New girl, move back," one of her classmates said to her. Emily spots an isolated seat at the back behind a chubby-looking kid who was popularly known as Fat Eddie. "Hey, new girl," Lucy, the girl beside her, said. "You're pretty." Emily smiled and thanked her. "Oh, no, it's not a compliment," she said with a smirk on her face. It felt strange to Emily. "That's weird," she said. The bell rings and the teacher walks in, Mr. Ezra, an average height, middle-aged man with pale skin and black short hair. "Hello, everyone. Before we proceed, we have a new student with us. Introduce yourself," he said as he pointed to Emily. "Oh, hi, everyone," as she anxiously stood up. "I'm Emily Cage. I'm new here." They just stared at her without saying a word. Emily felt freaked out already and couldn't help it. She just wanted the day to be over already. "Hi, wait up, Emily." Emily turned and saw it was Lucy. "Sorry about the way I acted previously. What brings you to Chicago High?" "My dad got transferred, so we just moved to Chicago," Emily replied. "Okay, nice. I will show you around and tell you things you need to know," Lucy said as they moved to the cafeteria. Lucy showed Emily around the school, pointing out the various cliques and even warning her about a few. "You need to stay clear of the Diamond Classics," Lucy said firmly. "The Diamond Classics?" Emily asked, raising an eyebrow. "Who are they?" "They're the biggest girls in school," Lucy replied, her voice dropping slightly as if even speaking about them could draw attention. "Oh, we have those kinds of cliques back in Nashville," Emily said, not acting concerned. "No, not this one," Lucy said firmly. "The Diamond Classics are made up of 3 top girls, Melinda, Sylvia, and Rosella, who is their ringleader and the best cheerleader in school. Her dad is an IT guru, and I heard she lives in a mansion." "So, she's rich," Emily replied as she gulped her milk. "No, not just rich. She has influence in school also. Her dad is one of the investors, so even the principal is her friend." She dates Andrew, a top basketball player in school. Don't worry, you'll meet them soon." "She's a mean girl!" "Emily?" Lucy exclaimed. "But you don't know me well enough. Why do you care about me?" Emily asked, with a focused gaze at Lucy. "Because I don't want you to end up like Stacia and Mary." They were bullied by Rosella and her clique. Stacia tried to jump off the roof, and Mary changed schools, Lucy responded. "Okay, I've heard you," Emily affirmed. "I'll stay clear of Rosella." When school dismissed, Emily headed home and found her mom waiting for her. "Hello, Emily," her mom greeted. "How was your first day at school?" "It was so weird, Mom," Emily replied, dropping her bag. "They stared at me like they'd never seen a new person before. It was just weird. But I did make a new friend. Her name is Lucy." Her mom smiled. "See? I told you you'd make friends. Now why don't you go drop your stuff and come down to eat?" "Okay, Mom," Emily said with a nod. "I'll do just that." Emily headed upstairs to her room and remembered to call her best friend, Ella. The phone rings, and Ella, a mixed-raced beauty with her shining blonde hair and freckles on her face, popped up. The phone screen. "Hello, Emily," she said with a big smile on her face. "How was your first day at school?" "Oh, it was so weird. I felt a bit lonely at first, but I made a new friend," Emily replied, slamming her back on her bed. "You made a new friend?" Ella exclaimed with her eyebrows raised. "Don't worry, Ella. I'm not replacing you with anyone," Emily affirmed with a smile on her face. "I really wish you were here. I miss you so much." "I miss you too, Emily," Ella said as a tear dropped from her eyes. The call ended, and Emily went downstairs to join her mom. What do you think of Emily's transition to Chicago High? And will Emily's path ever cross with the Diamond Classics? Stay tuned to find out. The storm begins at last. As Emily walked to school the next day, Lucy's warning about the Diamond Classics echoed in her mind. Curiosity gnawed at her. She couldn't help but wonder who they were and how they operated. Part of her wanted to keep her distance, but another part was drawn to uncover the truth behind their reputation. As she was walking through the hallways, she saw a group of people recruiting for the Chicago High Warriors, the women's basketball team. Emily had always loved basketball. She even had a poster of champions like Steph Curry in her room, not knowing he would be her hero someday. She filled out the form and was asked to come to the gymnasium later that day. Emily happily nodded and proceeded to her class. "Hi, Lucy," she said as she sat on her seat. "Guess what?" "What?" Lucy asked. "I just signed up for the women's basketball team." Emily answered. "Wow, that's really great," Lucy said, showing signs of excitement. "I bet you're really good at it." "Well, yeah, I'm trying, though," Emily said as she tilted her hair with a smile on her face. "Will you accompany me to the gymnasium?" "I can't remember where it is." "Sure," Lucy replied. "I'll be glad to show you the way." A while later, Lucy and Emily made their way to the gymnasium, where Emily had been instructed to meet up. Upon their arrival, they saw several others all gathering for the same purpose. It wasn't long before they met the coach, Coach Dixon. "Hello, ladies. Welcome to the team," Coach Dixon called out, his tone firm but welcoming. "Hi, Coach," the group replied together. "We're going to start with the basics," Coach Dixon continued, assessing the group. "Have any of you played basketball before?" Most of the girls nodded or raised their hands, signaling they had some experience. "All right," the coach said. "Then we'll start with some trials. Prove you're ready and we'll get you on the team." The girls braced themselves, knowing this would be their chance to show what they could do. When it got to Emily's turn, she was nervous but had to put herself together. Emily starts by dribbling the ball for about 3 seconds before attempting a throw. As she threw the ball, she mistakenly slipped and fell to the ground. "Oh no!" the others gasped, their voices filled with concern. "Emily! Emily!" As she heard her friend calling out, Emily lifted her gaze from where she had fallen. Lo and behold, her eyes met those of a stunningly handsome gentleman with piercing blue eyes, extending his hand toward her in a gesture of calm reassurance. Emily grabbed his hands, and he pulled her from the ground. "Nice throw," he said as he walked away, Unknowingly to Emily, the ball she threw entered the net. "Nice throw," Coach Dixon said to her as she walked back to her seat. "But we need to work on this fall." "Welcome to the team," he told her, with a smile on his face. "Whoa, nice one, Emily," Lucy said as Emily came to meet her. "That was really good, and you even got to hold hands with Andrew." Emily's eyes widened in surprise. "Whoa, that was Andrew," Emily exclaimed. "I didn't know." Emily didn't know that would be just the beginning of all her troubles. After they were done at the gymnasium, Emily was handed her team's sportswear that she could wear for games and other training sessions. Emily made her way to the gymnasium locker room to put it in her locker before she headed back to class. As she walked to class, Emily couldn't help but notice the whispers and a frowning look around her as she walked through the hallway. "Is that her? Is that really her?" Their voices echoed as they turned to look at her. "Lucy, what's going on? Why is everyone staring at me?" Emily confusingly asked Lucy. "I don't know," Lucy said, confused as she was too. "Maybe it's because you're on the team now." They both ignored the glances and walked to their classroom. A few minutes later, their classroom door opened and 3 girls walked in, drawing unexpected attention. They walked in with prestige like they owned the school. Lucy quickly tapped Emily. "That's them," she said. "That's the Diamond Classics." Emily parted her lips in shock. "So that's them," she said to herself. A blonde beauty with green eyes and plump lips, hair properly waved, nails done, walked up to her. "So you're the new girl?" Rosella said as she pointed towards Emily. "Yes, I am," Emily said with a stuttered voice. "I don't know if you've heard about me, but I'm the queen bee around here and no one messes with my Andrew," Rosella said with a soft frown, and her eyes tilted. "Oh no, that's not what happened," Emily tried to explain herself to Rosella, but was abruptly cut off. "I don't need to hear it," Rosella said as she stormed out of the class. "What just happened right now?" Lucy asked. "I don't know," Emily said as she bent her head to the ground. "You've really got to avoid her. She's mean," Lucy said. The next day, as Emily and Lucy were at the cafeteria having their lunch, Andrew walked up to Emily. "Hey, you're the new girl, right?" he says with a friendly smile on his face. "Yes, I'm Emily," she responds. "Nice to meet you, Emily." "I'm Andrew," he said with a grin. "See you later," Andrew says as he walks past her. All eyes were on Emily, and she didn't want this kind of attention. Emily quickly stood up and left with Lucy. Unknowing to Emily, Rosella had sworn to make her life a living hell. What plans do you think Rosella has for Emily? Stay tuned for more. The Divine Knock. In school, Rosella always tried to set traps for Emily, which Emily always fell for. She would occasionally go to the ladies' restroom to cry out her emotions. Also, she confided in her friend Lucy. Her parents didn't know about what was going on in school at that time. Emily came home sad occasionally, but she always said she was fine when her parents asked. To them, they felt as if she'd just missed where they were before they moved to Chicago. Days turned into weeks and weeks turned into months. Emily was still facing the same issues in school, and it got to a point where Rosella asked her coach to bench her. Coach Dixon didn't know what to do about this situation. He thought about it severally. Emily was a good player, but Rosella had more influence and could even make him lose his job. Coach Dixon decided to do what Rosella wanted so he wouldn't end up losing his job. Filled with shock, Emily didn't know what to say. She just stared blatantly at her coach, with tears already forming in her eyes. She dashed out from Coach Dixon's office and headed into the girls' bathroom. There, she broke out in tears, crying, wondering what she had done wrong to be benched. She couldn't place her mind on why the coach made such a decision. Emily soon accepted her fate, cleaned her face, and headed home. She had gone home to break the news to her parents and her best friend. They couldn't believe that all these were going on without their knowledge. "Emily, why didn't you tell us?" "We could have intervened." "No, Mom. It's just for the upcoming game," Emily said in tears. "I can handle it." Her parents looked at her in disbelief but hugged her and decided to respect her decision of them not intervening. "Now, Emily, wipe your tears," her mom said to her gently. "Your senior prom is only a few weeks away, and we have to get you ready. You will have to look stunning. like the princess that you are." "But Mom," Emily said shakingly, "nobody has asked me to prom yet." "Don't worry, dear, you'll get someone." "Now cheer up, tomorrow we'll head out to pick your dress," her mom said to her as she gave her a soft kiss and puts her to bed. A week later, it was prom week. Students were excited for the long-awaited prom night. As Emily walked down the hallways to her locker, themes of prom were up in the air. Who will be the next prom? King and Queen posters were up too. Emily has always been excited to attend prom. Her stunning outfit sorted out by her mom and close friend was already ready for the big night. Lucy runs to meet her. "Emily, I know you're excited. You've always talked about how prom would be for you, and guess what? I got a rose today. Someone asked me to prom," Lucy says happily. "Oh my goodness, I'm so excited for you," Emily says to her with a big smile on her face. "I'll catch up with you later. I need to get something," Lucy says as she hurriedly leaves. Emily got to her locker and opened it. Immediately, a huge red paint bowl dropped on her, pouring the red paint on her. A secret note pasted in her locker saying, "Catch that loser!" Everyone in the hallway laughed and giggled at her. It was her worst day in school. She couldn't help it anymore and immediately rushed out of school and went home, removed her soiled clothes, and lay on her bed crying. "I'm not going to prom no more," she said. "I can't stand being humiliated. Who knows what might happen?" Lucy rushed to her home later that day to meet Emily still in tears. "I'm so sorry, Emily. I wasn't there to comfort you. It's not your fault, but I've made up my mind not to attend prom anymore." Lucy raised her eyebrows and slightly opened her mouth in shock. "What? You don't mean this. I can't let you do that. You've always looked forward to this." "That's my decision," Emily exclaimed. Lucy left that day thinking about how she could change her friend's mind. She quickly remembered that her friend was a big fan of Steph Curry and contacted her cousin, who was a big sports promoter. Luckily for her, Steph Curry was in town for some weeks, so she contacted him through her cousin. The story was very touching, and Steph Curry has always held campaigns against bullying. He decided to pull through, and on that very prom night, they heard a knock at the door. Her dad came to check who it was and was surprised to see Steph Curry. "I'm here for your daughter. Hope I'm not too late." No, come in," Emily's dad said. "Hold on, I'll get her." Mr. Louis hurriedly rushed to get his daughter, Emily. "Someone is here for you." Emily was surprised as well and rushed down to see who it was. She couldn't believe her eyes. It was Steph Curry. She quickly ran upstairs to get dressed and head out to prom. As she walked into the hall, she was the center of attention. Emily didn't care about anything. She was so happy to be there with Steph Curry. They took the dance floor, and he told her not to ever feel intimidated again and to always stand her ground. She nodded happily and turned to her friend Lucy. "Thank you," she said inaudibly, although Lucy understood. It was a night to remember for Emily, as her remaining years were filled with advocacy against bullying. What do you think of bullying, and in what ways do you think it can be curbed? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Before you go, don't forget to check out the next video on your screen. It's packed with valuable insights that you won't want to miss.